Legendary tale: The Skull Tattoo and the Curse of Immortality. Long ago, on the storm-lashed western shores of a kingdom long since forgotten, there lived a notorious pirate named Roderick Skullface. He was feared across the seas, his name spoken only in whispers. But what made him truly terrifying was not his cutlass, nor his cunning mind, it was the skull tattoo etched across his chest. Rumors claimed it was no ordinary ink, it was a mark of immortality, a seal of power gifted by forces beyond this world. The legend of Roderick's tattoo began years before, in a distant land of shadow and whispers. A wandering sorcerer, gaunt and hooded, had traveled the world in search of the secrets of death itself. He claimed to have spoken with the spirits of the underworld, to have bargained with the gods of the grave. And when he crossed paths with Roderick, he saw in the pirate's cold eyes a soul willing to do anything for power. On a night as black as the ocean's depths, with no moon to light the sky, the sorcerer took Roderick deep into the heart of a haunted forest. There, under the gnarled branches of ancient oaks, he prepared the ink of the dead, a potion brewed from the ashes of those long forgotten and the venomous blood of a sacred serpent. As the sorcerer worked, the forest itself seemed to hold its breath. No bird sang, no insect dared stir. When the needle touched Roderick's skin, a chill wind swept through the trees, and the air grew thick with the scent of salt and death. The tattoo took hours to complete, each line a promise, each curve a curse. When it was done, the skull stared out from Roderick's chest, its hollow eyes seeming to pierce the soul of any who met its gaze. From that night on, Roderick was no longer a man of flesh and blood. He became a legend, a phantom on the waves. Cannonballs shattered against his body like pebbles. Blades broke on his skin. Even the ocean itself could not claim him. Once he was lost at sea for 3 days, yet he returned to his ship as if he had merely taken a stroll on the beach. At first, Roderick reveled in his newfound power. He plundered the coasts without fear, his laughter echoing over the waves like the cry of a sea demon. But as the years passed, a darkness began to creep into his mind. Each time he killed, the skull's grin on his chest widened, as if it feasted on the lives he took. Each night, he dreamed of his victims, their eyes accusing, their screams echoing in the darkness. One night, as his ship cut through the waves under a blood-red sky, Roderick awoke from a dream of endless wailing. The skull on his chest burned like fire, and he knew. His soul was slipping away, devoured by the very power he had sought. In desperation, he gathered his crew and set sail to find the sorcerer once more, to beg for release from the curse he had so foolishly embraced. Through raging storms and the fury of the deep, Roderick sailed. His crew whispered of mutiny, their faces pale with fear at the haunted look in their captain's eyes. But none dared challenge him, for they saw that he was no longer truly human. He was something else, something bound to the sea and the grave. At last they reached a desolate shore, where the earth was red as blood and the wind howled like the voices of the damned. There, in a cavern lit by the flickering light of a dying sun, Roderick found the sorcerer. The old man had grown even more gaunt, his eyes black as the void. "You come seeking release?" the sorcerer rasped, his voice like the rustling of bones. "Immortality is a weight that no mortal can bear. But there is one place, the harbor of souls, where the boundary between life and death grows thin. There, under the blood-red moon, you must offer your own heart. Only then can the curse be broken." Determined, Roderick set sail once more. The journey to the harbor of souls was like a descent into madness. The sea turned black as ink, the sky a swirling maelstrom of crimson clouds. Whispers rose from the deep, voices calling to him in languages he had never known. His crew abandoned him one by one, slipping away in lifeboats or vanishing into the mist. In the end, only Roderick remained, captain of a ghost ship, driven by the promise of release. At last he reached the harbor of souls. It was a place of eternal twilight, where ghostly ships drifted aimlessly and the fog never lifted. He stepped onto the rotting docks, the boards groaning beneath his boots. The skull on his chest pulsed with a dark light, guiding him deeper into the mist. Under the blood-red moon, Roderick drew his dagger, a blade he had carried since the earliest days of his piracy. He pressed it to his chest, over the grinning skull, and with a cry of both agony and relief, carved out his own still beating heart. Blood spilled onto the docks, seeping into the hungry wood. From the shadows, a figure emerged, a goddess with a skull's face, draped in robes of midnight. Her hollow eyes gleamed with a light that was both terrible and beautiful, like the last flicker of a dying star. "Are you ready to embrace death as part of yourself?" she asked, her voice echoing through the mists. "To pay the price of immortality?" Roderick nodded, his breath ragged. In that instant the skull tattoo cracked and splintered like ancient stone. His soul was drawn into the hollow eyes of the skull, a final offering to the darkness he had served for so long. His body crumbled to dust, swept away by the sighing wind. But the skull tattoo did not vanish. It drifted on the waves, carried by the tide, seeking a new heart bold enough to wear it. Some say it lies hidden in the ruins of the harbor of souls, waiting for the next fool who dares to claim its power. Others say it still roams the seas, carried by the whispers of the dead. And so the legend endures. On nights when the blood-red moon rises and the waves cry out in anguish, beware. For it may be the call of the skull tattoo, seeking a heart brave enough or foolish enough to defy death itself.